right, everybody. Good afternoon. This is afternoon in Tulsa, Oklahoma. An exciting week coming up next week. I am pleased to sit with our nominee, one of our nominees for governor of the state of Oklahoma, Mike Mazzei. Mike, it would help if I turned the recorder on. Anyway, we're here with Mike Mazzei. The Friday before election, in fact, early voting's already begun. It probably would have been kind of nice if we had done this a few days earlier, but it's always good to speak with you. And I'm excited and amazed at how calm you are. I mean, he exudes peace and just coolness. And
Eddie, remember, I had 5 teenagers at once. So this isn't that big of a deal.
Okay, good. Well, praise the Lord for that. So Mike, let's get right into it because I know you've got several other appearances today and meetings and things you've got to do. But we are short before the election, and
3 days to go.
Yeah, and it's gotten. I do have to say this, and I think a lot of our listeners and viewers will agree. This has been one of the more nasty contests that we've seen in a while. And I know you, we've known you for, I think it's 30 years.
Long time.
Yeah, 25, 30 years. And I know the type of person you are and the things you've gone through and where you've come from. So I just want to say that I don't know of anybody running for any office that I believe has a cleaner record and is the most honest and forthright individual there is. But the listeners out there don't know, especially if they listen or read some of the things that are being said about you. It's pretty crazy. Yeah. But let me ask you, one of the things that's been thrown out there is your injury, and an insinuation that you're high or that you go through your day high. First of all, I don't think you could be as successful in the type of business you have being intoxicated or under the influence, right? And so you have your own investment company. You used to be with Raymond James. And how long did you do that?
Well, I've had well, first of all, thanks for having me on the show again,
you're
Eddie.
welcome.
And Dave, thanks for doing the work to make it all happen. I started an independent financial planning company connected with Raymond James 30 years ago, 1996. Recently, we went fully independent and left the traditional broker-dealer platform. We still use actually some of the technology aspects of connectivity to the markets through Raymond James, but we're a fully independent registered investment advisory. The Lord's blessed us. After 30 years, Trinity Strategic Wealth now has $1.7 billion.
1.7 billion with the B. Wow.
In client assets. So not exactly a job you can have a substance abuse issue with.
I'll say. How many people do you have working with you here in your firm now?
We have 30 employees,
Wow.
A great new generation of advisors. Many of the people here are personally trained. It's just been very fulfilling to have a kingdom-based, company that focuses on providing real leadership and creativity to help people pursue their life and financial goals. And it's afforded me the opportunity over the last 20 years to also be in public service as a state senator and an Oklahoma Secretary of Finance.
Now, you initially went to school at Oral Roberts, and then did you transfer to John Mason, was it? Or
George Mason.
George Mason.
I was blessed during the Reagan era, Eddie, to get a staff position on a pro-life task force in the United States Senate in 1985. And ended up staying in the Washington, D.C. area to finish up my first degree, which was government and politics from George Mason University.
And then
but I quickly went back to Tulsa because of my friends from my days at ORU and my love for Tulsa. I became an Okie.
And so you started this business from scratch. What year was that?
1996. This is our 30-year anniversary.
Oh, wow. Cool. So, okay. And so you've built it up from the ground to where it is now. And that's something not many people, especially drug addicts, can do.
Yeah.
I just had to throw that out there. I'm sorry.
So it's just so disappointing and sad to see a political opponent take a story of a car accident and frankly, the Lord and faith and family and friends getting us through a very difficult season of life and getting through that and being able to still run my business, still serve in the state Senate and try to turn all that into a negative. It's just kind of disappointing that they would stoop that low. And just so the people of Oklahoma weren't, wondering about the absurd and false accusations, I went ahead and took a drug test and released my medical records from my doctor, Dr. Chris Setta, so everyone could know I'm just fine and fortunately blessed to be fully restored.
Which is kind of funny. The latest thing now, your doctor's results are not good enough. They want their doctor. I mean, it goes on and on. But at least those who know you know better. They know the truth, and I'm glad that you did go as far as to go ahead and submit to the drug test. I wonder if we could submit him to one. Turn the table. Hey, anyway, so. You built this business. You worked in the State House. You were a representative. And did you do the Senate? Yeah, you were a senator.
State Senate.
And now, we met you. Actually, my wife was the first one to meet you when you were campaigning the first time back in 96. And I remember
2004.
Oh, was it 2004?
When I was running for the Senate the first time.
Okay, 2004. Okay. And anyway, I remember coming home and wife said, "Oh, the coolest guy just came by." She handed me your deal, and I said, "Mazzei." I couldn't pronounce the name, but what's interesting, you were elected, but you, like you say, you really impressed my wife. But I met your dad.
Yeah.
Then I met your dad, and we became good friends, and I guess the rest is history. That's a couple of years later.
He's amazing.
Yeah, he is something, and now. This, as we said, this campaign season has been just kind of a crazy one. But I know I don't want to rehash the whole deal, but the smelter thing, I think we can't just bypass it. We need to discuss. So, as I understand, this is a smelter. It's not a refinery.
Correct.
There's a difference.
Big difference.
Can you explain quickly?
Well, it's important to let the people of Oklahoma know the truth. And the truth doesn't seem to be that important to my liberal trial lawyer opponent. One important item is 1 acre of land will be owned by a foreign country. The land is currently owned by the Tulsa Port of Inola, which was an industrial site created for, manufacturing projects. And President Trump and Secretary of Homeland Security, Mark Wayne Mullen, worked on this project. And the Oklahoma-based company is a U.S. registered company, partly owned by Chicago and Dubai-based companies.
So the actual company and ownership and initiation was by an Oklahoma company.
They will eventually have control of the land. It's an Oklahoma, United States-based company, kind of like the same partnerships that we've seen with Toyota or Honda. Now, 1 acre of land is owned by a foreign country. Second, not 1 penny of tax dollars goes to a foreign country or the monarchy which has been shamelessly told as a lie to the people of Oklahoma. Some of your listeners, Eddie, will understand how a tax increment finance district works because it's used in every county in every city in Oklahoma, and it's basically a performance-driven program. Oklahoma Primary Aluminum actually pays money like property taxes to the locally approved tax increment finance district. And those dollars will generate millions of payments to Rogers County schools and the payments which finance the construction work. And of course, the construction work is going to create massive amount of great high-paying jobs for Oklahoma workers. So again, it's been really bizarre to listen to a political opponent trash a project spearheaded by the president, important to national security, because we need aluminum for our fighter planes and our warships, and basically spread falsehood after falsehood like a liberal environmentalist Democrat, which he is a liberal Republican in name only. And that's really what this race is coming down to. A conservative financial planner, small business owner, endorsed by the president, Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders from Arkansas, dozens of former and current conservative state legislators versus a liberal trial lawyer who's actually sued Oklahoma farmers and ranchers and their business partners and put in jeopardy 25,000 poultry industry jobs over radical left environmental scare tactics, just like he's done during this campaign. And again, your listeners may want to reflect on the fact I wasn't even in the state legislature when this project was approved. I wasn't in the executive branch. It's my job as Oklahoma's next governor to make sure it's 100% in compliance with the Federal Clean Air Act and to make sure the EPA and the DEQ reviews are up to par. And I've told everyone that will listen, we're going to bring in a third-party independent evaluator just to make sure the air and the water are completely safe for the people and the cattle and the farms.
Well, yeah. So, yeah, that's something that's always gotten to me is that you have so many people up in arms online and so forth on Facebook and other venues complaining about you supporting this, but you didn't do it. It's like Billy Joel's song, I didn't start the fire. We didn't start the fire. You didn't start this. You're just running for office, and now all of a sudden it's being used against you. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. Let me ask you this. I'm surprised at some of the people who seem to be coming against you these days, people that I would never have expected. A couple of them, I think, are maybe in the financial, what would you call it? Financial counseling, financial stockbrokers, let's just say stockbrokers and financial people that are kind of against you. And so I've often wondered, is there a jealousy among stockbrokers or financial advisors?
You know, some people see competition as the pie is just big enough for all of us, and it can be a great collegial fraternity, if you will, of lots of us trying to help others pursue their life and financial goals. Others maybe get over the top, emotionally jealous about competitors, and they're happy to spread bad information.
Yeah. So let me ask you, what other things that maybe have not been publicized as much or dealt with would you like to tell the viewers and the voters of Oklahoma?
Well, of course, I always like the opportunity to share people my bold reform plan to make Oklahoma a no income tax state and abolish property taxes for seniors and veterans and launch a massive statewide literacy program so our kids can read at grade level, and to secure the land of Oklahoma for the people of Oklahoma, because we still have this public safety threat with the Chinese money and land ownership connected with the Mexican cartels. Now, one thing that we've been educating people on that just really stuns them is the duplicity of my opponent, who wants to pretend he's a conservative, but of course, President Trump has said, he's a liberal Republican in name only. In 2023, Eddie, the legislature passed a bill, Senate Bill 212, and it directed the Office of Attorney General to create an affidavit form to help guard against foreign adversaries buying land. Well, the Office of Attorney General, Gettner Drummond, created an affidavit that's used now in all 77 counties. But item 3 on that affidavit gives 2 options. One option is, I hereby certify that I'm a citizen of the United States. Check that box, buy whatever you want. But after the word United States is the word or. The next phrase put into this document by the Attorney General, Gettner Drummond, reads as follows, and I quote, "I am not a citizen of the United States, but an alien who is or shall become a bona fide resident of the state of Oklahoma." You check that box, a foreign adversary, an illegal immigrant, you can buy whatever you want in the state of Oklahoma. And a brave county clerk employee showed me this once upon a time and said, "Senator Mazzei, after we get this form after a land purchase, it goes in this drawer and nobody ever looks at it again." So is that because his bank that he's chairman of is deep into the marijuana business world? They even broadcast on his bank's website that they're the leading banker in the cannabis industry. So, again, this election is coming down to a true conservative, lifelong Republican and a liberal Republican in name only who has not really addressed the important problems that we're dealing with in public safety.
Let me ask you a question about this $1,000 donation that was given to Joe Biden. And they made a lot to do about retracting that, getting the money back. But did I read somewhere that then it just went to Act Blue? I seem to recall reading that somewhere that although it didn't go to Biden in particular, they allowed Act Blue to essentially keep the money, just not give it to Biden. So,
the claim is that there's definite proof on a website that's out there called drummondisaliar.com that a $1,000 donation was made by Gettner Drummond to Biden for president. Now, to your point, the response to that is, well, we got a refund. Well, if the best case you can make is once it became apparent, we asked for our refund. That sounds like, lawyer speak to me. Following that, though, the Drummonds made a donation to the very, vicious anti-Trump organization, the Lincoln Project. And what a lot of people don't know, Eddie, is they made a $1,000 donation to the liberal Democrat running against Tom Coburn. They made a big donation to the liberal Democrat running against Jim Inhofe. They made a big donation to the liberal Democrat running against Jim Bridenstine. They have supported liberal Democrats, and they are funded in a large part by liberal Democrats. And tens and tens of thousands of dollars by liberal trial lawyers.
The trial lawyer, yeah, I've known that. Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. Now, things are wrapping up. We are here on the weekend before the big vote, although early voting is already going on. So I hope a lot of our viewers can still get to the polls but have the information that they're getting here today, in addition to the many things that you've given out. What are your top priorities in addition to education is one? And I think we basically scratched the surface of the Mississippi model. Mm-hmm. Okay. What makes the Mississippi model so good and has brought them from, where were they, number 50? Were they behind us or just in front? I know they were in the bottom 3.
They were number 50.
They were number 50. Okay.
Now they're number 1.
Number 1?
Yeah.
Last I saw it was 6.
No, when you compensate or balance it out for demographics, they are number 1, according to an organization called the Urban Institute that uses data from the National Assessment of Educational Progress.
Wow. No, from 50 to number 1 in education. How did they do it?
I've had a one-on-one conversation, Eddie, with the statewide literacy director of Mississippi. Her name is Amanda Malone, to hear from them directly, how did they do it? And according to her, the 3 most significant pieces were they got rid of all the liberal, balanced literacy reading curriculum disaster and replaced it entirely with phonics. Their State Department of Education only has 6 reading curriculums that are all phonics based, and that's what their 140 school districts get to choose from. So one of my first executive orders will be to terminate what we have at our State Department of Education, which is 24 reading curriculums that are still embedded with this balanced literacy, word memorization, terrible reading curriculum. 2, they put dedicated funding every year, 12 years. It's now $15 million a year to have the right amount of reading coaches and coordinators so they could collaborate with teachers across the state. Hey, here's the new curriculum and here's how we do it. And then they have what's called the 3rd grade reading gate for accountability purposes. So the kids are actually reading by 3rd grade, because after 3rd grade, they need to read to learn. Sarah Sanders, our friend from the state of Arkansas as governor, after 2 full years of implementing kind of their approach to reading, I saw the data after getting the privilege to meet her and receive her endorsement to be governor of Oklahoma. Their 1st and 2nd graders that were in their Mississippi model new program, reading proficiency has increased 100%. So we can do this and we can do it quickly. The other big piece of the puzzle, which my opponent does not support because he likes being the darling of the teachers union, is we've got to move school board elections from these bizarre dates in the winter to the actual dates of the general election in November, so the conservative parents who pay for the system actually have more of a choice in the leadership of the schools. And in addition to that, candidates for school board do need to start designating whether they're Republican or Democrat. So the conservative parents of Oklahoma know the worldview of the folks who want to lead our 500 school districts.
Wow. Yeah. And after, what would be issue number 2 that you want to tackle?
Well, I really want to have a economic growth plan. Actually, I have an economic growth plan that I want to launch, and it has 3 components. 1, we've got to become a no income tax state over a period of years in a responsible fashion, because states like Tennessee are outdoing us. They've had 58% more economic growth than we've had in a 10-year period. The second element of that growth plan is to get the 7,500 students that are on our waiting lists of our 29 career techs into programs. And the 3 most popular programs are welders, nurses, and HVAC technicians. Those are great jobs and lead to great careers. And then the third piece of my economic growth plan is to have a small business capital program where we collaborate with 5,000 Oklahoma-based businesses with best practices to grow 10 jobs each. And that's 50,000 jobs over a 4-year period, and all those profits circulate right here. So we believe with a great economic growth plan and a great education literacy plan, and then resourcing properly career tech and higher ed for the jobs that our Oklahoma-based businesses want to fill, we can have a golden age of growth, prosperity, and opportunity for our kids and our grandkids.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds great. It kind of gets me that bringing in new industries and growth industries and things that can bring a lot of new tax revenue to the state are being opposed by conservatives. Some of these environmental so-called issues are more Democrat issues than Republicans. And it just gets me that Republicans are starting to buy into some of these things with twisted facts.
Well, here in Oklahoma, consistent with our history in oil and gas and aerospace manufacturing, we know full well that economic development that creates great high-paying jobs and environmental safety are not mutually exclusive. But the people of Oklahoma are being fed numerous falsehoods to score political points, and we are just looking forward to that ending on August 25th.
Which is next Tuesday. Is there anything else that we have? Because I wanted to really give you an opportunity to address those two issues and get them out there. Is there anything else you would like to tell the voters of Oklahoma?
Well,
the future.
To learn more details about our plan, they can go to MikeForOK.com. That's our website. And we've got a historic level of detail about my bold conservative plan that no one's ever seen this level of detail on a political website in Oklahoma. Two, we would very much appreciate, true conservative Republicans, Eddie, getting out to vote on Tuesday, because when true conservative Republicans show up, we can keep the rhinos that are preventing good progress at the state capitol from holding the levers of power. Think about it. Republicans control the state capitol with supermajorities, but we're 49th in education. We're losing headquarters to other companies because these folks like my opponent that say they're Republicans, but then say, oh, we can't be a no income tax state like the Republican state of Tennessee. I mean, it's just bizarre and absurd. There's this growing movement, thanks to President Trump, thanks to great new conservatives in the Senate and in the House, where we've got a chance to advance major structural changes that will improve the lives of everyday Oklahomans, particularly on this property tax issue. We didn't dive into the details of that, but we can legitimately get rid of property taxes for seniors and veterans. And with the way I've structured the plan to phase the property tax out over 3 to 6 years, our counties will still have a net gain in property tax collections, so that core services for the counties and payments for school bonds will be just fine. But of course, the rhinos, Eddie, they just want to have as much spending and as much funding as possible, so they don't have accountability to real reform that the people of Oklahoma want and need.
Yeah. Speaking of that, no tax plan, a mutual friend of ours, I believe, originally suggested that to you. and because you were all for getting rid of the sales tax and all, but the
income tax.
Well, yeah, right. And then, but then you said, let me go work on it, put some numbers to it. So it's not something that you just popped up as a campaign issue. You really seriously have figured this out, how to do it.
Literally, all the counties, the urban counties are growing their revenues 5, 6, 7% per year, tax receipts. The rural counties are growing their revenues 3 to 4%. After I got asked this over and over again, I did crunch the numbers, and I found, Eddie, that the 65 and older population taxes on their residence, their homestead, only account for 10% of total county tax collections. Well, you phase out that 10% over 3 years in an urban county, and you lose 3% of tax receipts. But if tax receipt growth is coming in at 6% per year, well, you still then have 3% net gain on tax receipts. My friend, County Commissioner Jacob McHughes from Cleveland County just told me, hey, we just got our numbers in and tax receipts are up 5% this year. So there's a way to do it responsibly. And finally, seniors 65 and older won't be paying rent to the government.
Wow. Sounds good. Well, Mike, let me just wish you good luck, and I guess we'll see how everything turns out on the other side of Tuesday.
Thanks so much again for having me.
Oh, thank you for doing it. Okay, take care. Bye.
Let's go to a break.
Okay, everyone, that was our time with gubernatorial candidate Mike Mazzei, and hopefully Oklahoma's next governor.
Yeah, I'm back. I did a change of outfit, and I don't know if I'm ready. No, I'm not Mike Mazzei. Okay. I was trying to do my Mike Mazzei.
I see what you're doing. I was hoping you. I didn't have. Oh, I made.
I
muted it. I still don't have you. There he is.
No, I'm still muted.
Man.
There you go. Now we can hear.
All right. Okay, I'm going to take these back off. I've noticed if we talk right into the mic, we don't get the hollow sound.
Yeah.
We are actually at Mike Mazzei's facility, broadcasting here today. So forgive us if things are a little bit unusual or different. It's just getting our sea legs here in this place. So, Dave, you got to listen to this interview. What was your take from everything?
Yeah, Mike, does he have a master's degree or like 2 different master's degrees in economics? The guy knows numbers.
Oh, right.
He knows business. And in fact, when he came in before we started the show, I mentioned just this morning, Hyundai Automotive, the big Korean automaker who already has factories building cars in America, which is a good thing, right?
Right.
They said, we're going to increase next year 60% more. Well, those are massive numbers. And And Georgia's going to benefit because they're in Georgia. Yeah. Well, what if we had industry, global big companies coming to Oklahoma and doing so well, they say, you know what, we're going to build even more and have good jobs.
Yeah. It's always kind of a tension between new jobs and, well, in the last, say, 10, 15 years in particular, with the whole environmental movement.
Yeah.
These are people that really don't want us to do anything more.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious. I mean,
no, look at what AOC did. As soon as she became a congresswoman, Amazon's going to put this big shipping fulfillment center, Oh, no, can't have Amazon in our district.
Right.
Well, she just screwed over her district.
Yeah. And that's what concerns me, that we have so many Republicans now that are buying into this. All of a sudden, everybody's an environmentalist.
Yeah.
And they're not scientists. They don't. It reminds me when I was on with Pat Campbell, and there was some TV show that interviewed some young high school girl in Muskogee or Tahlequah or somewhere, and they asked her what she was going to be, and she wanted to be something, and she totally butchered it.
Yeah.
She butchered whatever she wanted to be.
Yeah.
I still don't know what it was. And so after that, I decided I was going to be called an Afrophysicist.
Oh.
And so then Pat would introduce me as the resident Afrophysicist. Because that's kind of what, I cannot remember what the girl, but anyway, but we've got all of these kind of pseudo-physicists out there that are telling us how horrible aluminum plants are, how bad control data centers are, and they're using the very things that they're coming down against, and they think, this doesn't affect. If we stop this, it won't affect it. It's just Oklahoma.
Okay, way back in the 70s, when this whole anti-nuclear energy came in, a journalist decided, I'm going to try to get an interview with Jane Fonda, and goes to her palatial ranch resort out there in California. And when he comes in the room to sit down for it, he goes and turns off the light. She's like, what are you doing? Well, you get your power from a nuclear power facility here. And it's time you start living what you preach.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, no. Okay. Got to turn them lights back on.
Yeah.
But it's just so simple. Eddie, you know what the melting point on aluminum is compared to steel? People keep thinking these, Pittsburgh smokestack, smelting factories. It's the cleanest metal, and it's so important to national security. And to say no to it would be to tell our national security people, our president, and everybody says, you don't know what you're talking about. We want to live in the Stone Age.
Yeah. And here's the other thing, Dave, that people are missing or being bamboozled by. This is not a smelter.
Yeah.
The smelting process is being done elsewhere.
Yeah.
All we are doing is finishing the final aluminum product.
Yeah.
And the other thing, why don't you have a brother that works for the EPA, correct?
Well, he worked for Boeing Aircraft Company, right? And, he's part of their national security group that then that department got phased out. And so they moved him over to this job where they had to get him all of his certifications with the EPA. It all had to do with environmental, compliance stuff. And then he left that company, moved back to Cheyenne, Wyoming, where he really liked. And he started his own company, and he's in mineral recovery. He actually does. He's got technology. He's written books on recovering precious metals from the oil field. And I happen to mention to this because we covered it on the whole issue of data centers, because Cheyenne's got 14 data centers going. 14. The town is smaller than Broken Arrow. I'm going to have 14 data centers. Now, Cheyenne is a perfect climate for water coolers because it's so dry. The dew point is so low. And they're hurting for water, right? But they still know that, you can recycle the same water over and over again.
This is another one of the big issues right now. The initially Broken Arrow data center, and now we're looking at other areas.
The county had to approve last year this data center up in North Tulsa, right? Well, we just found out this week that was Google, who's already in Mays County, right? At the Mid-America Industrial Park. They're putting another one in North Tulsa.
Oh, wow.
So...
got Amazon up there.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you there will be more. There are communities that would love to have these near them. Now, see, this is what bothers me. There's so much bad press and bad tell your neighbor out there that it's just becoming really, really harmful. And I know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that says this, and they really don't know their facts. In fact, the thing you were talking, Dr. Everett Piper, most of you know Dr. Piper, he just posted a thing. I don't know if you know, he writes for the Washington Times.
Right.
And so he just wrote an article, and he has a photo of a town, I think it's in Wyoming, maybe it's the same one, Cheyenne, where they show the aluminum refining factory.
Okay.
And it's an aerial shot, and it shows the city right there. And it's just as clean and beautiful. And the people, the inhabitants, have no problems. They're happy. It's created jobs. This will create at least 1,000 jobs that we know of right now up there. And that doesn't include all of the people building, the labor to build it. I mean, it's just, we've got to grow up, people. We've got to grow up. It's like the horse and buggy people who were fighting against cars.
Right. And I know,
trains and things.
People are thinking, it's that poor, suffering little community of Inola. I mean, Inola is a nice place to live. It is growing. But we're talking outside of Inola proper. It's in the city fence line, but it's an industrial park, and it's important to national security. It's important distribution when you've got a, seaport, an inland seaport that goes all the way down to New Orleans and go worldwide. Having the barges there was one of the best things we did 60, 70 years ago to bring in industries like this. And so we have that. But my brother, who is an expert on recovering metals and refining metals and stuff. And when I say it's aluminum facility, he says, that's the cleanest metal you can work with. It really is. Yeah. The melting point, because here's the thing, and I'm glad Mike said it's not a smelter, because in the smelting process, you're refining and get rid of impurities. And if you picture what goes on in Pittsburgh when they take the iron ore from northern Minnesota, come in, they got to heat it super hot. And then all the impurities, you got to try to keep that from creating toxic environment. This is aluminum. This is crazy. I just thought Oklahoma had more intelligence, Eddie.
Yeah, we've been infected by bad information, and I'd say bad actors. And I will have to say that Gendron Drummond is one of those bad actors, because he knows better. He knows this. In fact, here's what I predict. Okay. In fact, I hate to predict this because it sounds weird, but I believe Mike Mazzei is going to be our governor. Should he not? Should Gendron Drummond become our next governor? I promise you today that all of a sudden he will say, I've got new information that the smelter, the aluminum plant is not a smelter. It's a this or this or this.
Yeah.
And so we need it. And then he will take credit for bringing 1,000 new jobs to the Inola area and on and on. And
well, what he'll do is he'll tweak some little thing and say, oh, now that I fixed it, it's okay. But Eddie, Gentner's social media team, and you've run into them, they're all over the place. They're just, swarming all over social media. They are demagoguing the fact that it's got foreign investment, not just foreign, Muslims. Can't have Muslims investing in America. You know what I mean?
I think there's still people working in that work.
So,
it's so hypocritical. It's so hypocritical, and let's run it down again, okay? I think 30% is owned by this American company. Mm-hmm. And then one American company. And then I think there's another 18% or so by another American outfit that's involved or whatever. And then you get to 51%, a bit over half. Or no, I think it's 60%. Okay, let's say 60. 8 points, 9 points. Anyway, so it's not Muslim run. The people working there are not people from the United Arab Republic. By the way, I can't remember if I mentioned this. The number one refiner of aluminum in producer or supplier of aluminum in the United States is Canada. Mm-hmm. Canada supplies 51% of the aluminum we use right now. Now, I don't know of a country that's any more environmentally crazy or safe as you. I don't know if it's safe or crazy, but let's just put it, they're obsessed with environmentalism. In Canada.
Except for their fires that choked out in the eastern United States. Right. Yeah,
but anyway, and Canada produces 51% of the aluminum that we have in America.
Yeah, and
there's a whole list. The UAE is way down. They're like number 9.
Yeah.
We've got all kinds of countries bringing aluminum into America's production, I think is number 11, Jeez. 11 or 12. It's way down there. So it just bothers me that we are so easily manipulated and allow these people to manipulate, particularly for political purposes. I pray you don't fall for this stuff. Do your research. Read more than the Tulsa World or the Oklahoma City newspaper, or listen to the major networks. There's so much more that you can find out by digging deeper.
We realigned our federal government after 9/11, 2001, and created a department called Homeland Security. Homeland Security is kind of the catch-all coordinator with all the other intelligence agencies and forces for national security. The head of that is Oklahoma's Mark Wayne Mullen, who has spent time on the ground in Inola for the past 15, 20 years as our congressman. And Donald Trump has taken a very hands-on approach to making sure we have aluminum production here for national security purposes. Right. We're not going to get snookered by some Muslims from the Middle East here.
Right.
Donald Trump is going to always make sure we get a good deal for national security, for American jobs, American workers, and national security.
Yes.
So, by the way,
we hope you guys can understand.
To your point, though,
fix your mic.
Okay. To your point, though, about Mike Mazzei, he'll be the governor if Oklahomans vote. This is historically the lowest turnout of the whole voting election cycle, the runoffs. It's absolutely essential. I listened, Kyle Loveless, a great political consultant now, used to work with Bill Shepard at Sooner Poll, now has started his own company. He was on a podcast the other day. In fact, he just got done texting me a few minutes ago. Wants to come on our show, by the way. But he said, if the voters turn out in high enough numbers, Mike Mazzei will win. But if they don't go to the polls, Gentner's probably going to win. And he's one of the top pollsters we have.
Yeah, one of the, I don't know if you want to call it tricks or strategies being deployed, are these teachers unions. Mm-hmm. The teachers unions and other Democrat entities have gotten their people to switch their voter registrations to Republican to be able to vote in our primary, just like our city councilor, Lori Dector Wright, has done specifically to mess with our vote. Okay. She told me, I mean, I'm not making this up. She told me that that's why she did it. So this election could hinge on Democrats being Republicans until next week, when they switch back over.
Yes. In fact, on that whole point, tomorrow, the Oklahoma Republican State Committee is scheduled to meet. There's a lot of rhinos that are furious with in fact, you've been a part of it, Eddie, for a while. I was in Tulsa County, certifying that our candidates are actually reflecting the values of the party. And Mike Mazzei and a number of the candidates were certified if they at least 80% are aligned with the Republican Party. Gentner's not on that list. Hamilton's not on that list. The election, school board. James Taylor's on the list. Mike Mazzei's on the list. There's a bunch of them that the Republican Party is finally doing what they're supposed to do. And, we're
refining.
We're saying, hey, it has to mean something.
Right.
And if you won't stand by the party and put your name down that you're with us, while you're still telling us, oh, never mind that I'm giving money to Act Blue and Joe Biden and all that, the party needs to stay the course. They're doing the right thing. And I hope that the state committee tomorrow will support what you and several other leaders around the state have done to start certifying these candidates.
Yeah, we really do. We need to refine.
Yeah.
We need to refine, smelt, and get rid of the dross. And we don't have to do it violently or meanly, but you narrow things. A thing that always got me, I got to the point where I was telling the Tulsa County party, where the officials and leadership, that it almost doesn't matter what our platform says, because you have people that aren't listening to the platform.
Yeah.
They don't really care what the platform says. It's just something that they'll say, yeah, I agree with that, but then go and do something else. And that's troubling. So again, this is a very important election Tuesday for the state of Oklahoma. What bothers me as well is that a few of the things that Mike has promised to do, Mike Mazzei has promised to do, are being poo-pooed by the other side, purely for political gain, And among those are his education initiatives, his tax initiatives that they say can't work. You had some accountant say it can't be done, and then you have 10 accountants say it can be done. Yet they published this one accountant who's a naysayer.
Oh, of course.
So we've got to be smarter. This isn't the only or last election that we're going to face this, but it's a very important one. This is an important election for the state of Oklahoma.
Eddie, it's like this. You've got a bunch of friends of the Jewish ethnicity and several of them practicing Judaism. In the Tulsa world, never went to any of them, but they found a raving liberal who claimed to be an ethnic Jew who said you're an anti-Semite because you don't agree with her liberal policies.
Well, actually, the lady has never met me, I couldn't pick me out of a lineup.
Exactly.
But had nerve enough to say that I was anti-Jewish.
Yeah.
Like I said, if she knew me, I'm not.
What I'm saying is what they did to Mike Mazzei, finding some guy who claims to be an investment management.
No, it's an accountant.
Accountant. Oh, accountant. He
was supposed to be an accountant. Talking about the tax plan. He was attacking Mike's tax plan to reduce your and my taxes.
Oh, guys.
You just heard it. If you listen, you heard him say what he plans to do with our taxes. So.
Eddie, there are people who find change to be a threat because they like the status quo. And we just don't like change.
Yeah.
But I want to say, one of the things Kyle Loveless, if you remember Kyle as a senator and good friend of Mike Mazzei's, led the charge to try to get rid of civil asset forfeiture.
Yeah, I remember
That's
that.
Kyle. So Kyle's become incredibly immersed in the political science thing, really helped keep Bill Shepard's, Sooner poll afloat for a long time before moving on his own. One of the things he said, he asked all the candidates for governor, if you make it into the runoff, who would you want your opponent to be? Because it's all about matchups, right? And when he asked Gintner said, Mike Mazzei. And they asked Mike Mazzei, and he said, Gintner. And they're getting what they asked for, And because it all is about the dynamics. Remember 8 years ago, it was looking like Mick Cornett and Todd Lamb. And then Kevin Stitt, the last few precincts to report, and he edges out Todd Lamb. And then he overwhelms Mick Cornett. He goes from third most of the night to eventually being an 8-year governor.
Yeah. Todd Lamb, by the way, a good friend and a wonderful guy. And, I'm sorry that we didn't get to see him. That's why I coined I didn't coin the phrase, but that the lieutenant governor's position is where good politicians go to die. I mean, think about it. Mary Fallon, I think, is the exception.
Yeah. George Nye was lieutenant governor. Now, keep in mind, we don't do the running mate thing. The lieutenant governor is its own office, very independent. Most states do not do that, or several of them don't. And George Nye became lieutenant governor when, who was the guy? Forget his name. David Hall. David Hall went to prison, got run out of office. George Nye became one of those popular governors because he served 2 full terms, plus got to finish out David Hall's term.
Wow.
And
our sitting encyclopedia over here.
So there was a lieutenant governor who became governor. Now, what's his name? Is it Jack Waldron? Was lieutenant governor under David Walters, and everybody thought he was going to get it.
A Texan.
But yeah, because he was an OU football player, right?
Right.
But our friend Gary Richardson, no, it wasn't Gary. Who was it? Wes Watkins decided to run as the Reform Party candidate. Now, Wes was that darling of the old Southern Dixiecrat, Little Dixie area. And so many people supported him. He's a great guy. Yeah, just a staunch, literally eventually became a Republican and became a congressman as a Republican. But because the Democrat vote got split, that's how we got Frank Keating. He would not have won if that hadn't happened. So lieutenant governors, it used to play a bigger role. Oh, here's another fun fact, Oklahoma.
Our encyclopedia.
Until George Nye, no governor in Oklahoma had ever served 2 consecutive terms. We chew them up and spit them out historically. Now, all of a sudden, other than David Walters, we've just seen one after another serving 2 terms. So I think it's changed. But I will say this, Eddie, and you'll probably agree to me, if you study it, No second term has been nearly as good as first term for any of them. And I'll say Kevin Stitt would meet that mold.
Yeah, and that's primarily because the candidates or the governors, if you will, are always looking ahead to the next thing. I mean, it's natural.
Mm-hmm.
That's why ideally you get somebody that's not looking beyond.
Yeah.
That this is it. We want to serve the people.
Yeah.
And end it, So it's hard to find. It's hard to tell. But I want to wrap up. Let's wrap up. Just saying again that Mike Mazzei has my and my family's full endorsement simply because we've lived around the guy.
Yeah.
We've gotten to know, we know the family, the dad, we know the wife, the kids. We know the type of person he is, okay? And that's why it hurts us to see the crap that's being thrown out there at him and attacking him because it's not true. He has gone through some real serious physical issues that through the grace of God, he's been healed from. And for them to take that and try to sully it by saying he was a drug addict, it's just beyond the pale. That makes me madder than anything.
Asinine. Eddie, let's do a quick cheat sheet because there's a number of votes this week, especially those of us in Tulsa voting for our city council members. But let's start at the top. Okay. All of our congressional delegation, I believe there's not a runoff in the batch. Okay. Kevin Hearn, that was the open seat. Right. He made it through no problem. Mark Tedford, because the other Jackson Lawmeyer dropped out, we just said, okay, Tedford's the nominee going to November. All of the delegations done. Now, governor, yes, this is the big race. Beyond that, T.W. Shannon's already wrapped up lieutenant governor. Superintendent of public education, that's the Hamilton versus Taylor. I'm with Taylor. I think you are too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think largely conservatives are in that place. We've got the insurance commissioner. We got labor commissioner. I think those are the only two other statewide.
I'll catch it. No, just kidding.
I was really impressed with what Marty had to say last week, but I've been impressed with Bob Sullivan. So.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That's a tough one because I've gotten to know Bob a little bit, and I really like him. Having Marty in last week really helped enlighten us on.
I tell you what, I was pretty worked up against Marty until he explained the whole.
Right.
And I'm kind of embarrassed myself because I was judging Marty on what I felt the Oklahoma Constitution should require. But it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
And if there's a place for a person to say, hey, my wife's folks, my folks are in their last days, I'm going to go be there for them. Not knowing what opportunities come up, not knowing how long they're going to have mom or dad with them. But it's a season of life and a change, and Marty decided, you know what?
Right.
I could probably do this job as well or better than anyone. And I think he could. Especially having his senatorial experience in the Capitol, working with reforms, legislation, all that.
Yeah.
So
it'll be interesting.
But on a personal basis, I'm impressed with Bob Sullivan as an individual. He just doesn't have the experience in public office.
No. And sometimes experience in public office can be a negative instead of a positive.
Now, the labor commissioner, you got Kevin West and John Pfeiffer. I will say this, the Oklahoma Constitution, you met Steve Bias a few months ago. John Pfeiffer has had horrible scores. Kevin West has had fantastic scores. So to me, that's the flip of the coin. I'll go with that. I think that's it. Other than that, city council for those of us here in Tulsa.
Yeah.
Throw them all out.
Well, no, this is what gets me. My district 7
has
a candidate that I didn't find out about until this week.
I think there's 2 challenging Lori, right? In your district?
As far as I know, there was only one, and he called me last night. Oh. And I know. And elections next week, and I'm thinking, are you serious? There's not been one sign, not one mailing, not anything, and we're supposed to.
But I mean, Eddie, I know you just on principle have to vote against Lori, not so much vote for him.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sure. I have to. Yeah. Right.
And that's where I'm at. We've had Aaron Bisagna.
Like lasagna.
Yeah, exactly. And he showed up at my neighborhood meeting last weekend. Anthony Archie, is that right? It's 2 first names. He said he'd be there and didn't show. That's the 3rd time he skipped me.
Yeah, I hate to do this. I hate to say this, but Anthony Archie wanted a job. He needed a job, an income, and certain people have no business being in office, and it's a shame. Now, one thing I will say, they worked it. They worked the precinct. They worked.
You mean 2 years ago?
2 years ago, yeah, 2 years ago. That's how he ended up winning. Also, there were not really that great of candidates against him.
I think there was one that he ended up in the runoff with. Forget her name. That
lady, yeah, I forget. She didn't even run again this time either.
Yeah, I'm disappointed because I would have worked hard for her.
Right, I think she could.
But Eddie, you just hate black people then, I guess, right?
That's what they tell me. That's what they tell me. Oh, which reminds me, there's YouTube now and Facebook. Facebook has, and this makes me feel so good and so happy and so proud that the strongest conservatives that I find on the internet are black conservatives and black Republicans. The stuff they're putting out is some of the best material against the Democrats that you'll ever find.
Good.
If you're interested, contact us, ask me about it. You can get it at freshblack.coffee. You can contact us or look for me on my Facebook page, and I'll be able to share, because I share a lot of these things that I get. But the tide is turning. The tide is turning. There's so many things that the Democrats thought would help them that are actually hurting them, and that is this illegal immigration situation. Yeah. They're bringing so many people in to replace the black vote that they're losing the black vote.
Yeah.
People are waking up. And so that's a good thing until there are more immigrants than the rest of us.
One quick thing. I watched Lindsey Graham's sister in that debate last week, and where she says, I don't know anything about foreign policy, essentially. I mean,
she's a great debater, though. She is a good debater. I thought she kind of kicked his butt as far as being able to answer questions and so forth. But that issue, and for a federal office representing the United States of America, not just South Carolina, yeah, she was.
And as we speak, Donald Trump is right there in South Carolina campaigning for him. I think Ralph Norman is a fantastic candidate.
Yeah, this is one of the problems the party has today. Mm-hmm. We tend to vote for the young, good-looking guy or woman.
I don't think either of them are young.
Well, she seems younger than that, but she is a woman. And so she'll, I'm sure, get a lot of that female vote. But anyway, it's just something that I've noticed. That's why you have so many women in Congress now.
Yeah.
And probably half of them shouldn't be there.
Hey, quick question. I just got a mailer from ONG saying there's a question on the ballot in Tulsa. Should we continue the exclusive franchise agreement with the ONG? They don't just let 10 pipelines dig up the streets. Would we get a better deal if we voted no initially?
I think so.
To
make them earn our vote.
Yeah.
Make them, in Texas, they may have gone too far the other way. They've got umpteen energy companies, that are gas and electric companies. And so, you could live here and then 5 miles down there, you're with another one, or your next door neighbor could even be getting their gas from. So I don't know how they do it, how they can regulate it, but we can have different gas and electric companies. Now, I will say this though, okay? I kind of like ONG, okay? PSO is the problem. If you'll notice, your gas bill really has not increased much, okay? Summer or winter, I'm still paying maybe $30 a month for gas. In the, I was down to 20. It's gone up maybe to 30. And in the winter, it's never as high. My electric bill last month was $300. My son, I think, has $800 or $900, but they like to keep a refrigerator in their living quarters. But PSO really, I think, is a problem. I don't know what that is. Someone needs to do something about PSO, and it's a national company.
I wish, the Corporation Commission just kind of gave monopolies to everybody, and they're supposed to be regulating and be on our side.
I wonder what is this Oklahoma gas, OG&E, that they have down Glenpool South.
Right. They're probably one of the biggest players is OG&E.
Really? I wonder what their rates are like.
Well, I don't know. I'd like to have Grand River Dam Authority.
Well, yeah.
Because they're the cheapest in the nation because they're a government trust. And
I wonder what it would take to allow them to provide the electricity for the rest of us.
So anyway, there's that.
Hey, Dave, we
better wrap it up.
We're using Mr. Mazzei's office here, and we're kind of liking it too, I think.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for this special edition. We will be mailing out the earlier portion. And
here, I upstaged you.
Yeah. Remember, please go vote. Get your friends and neighbors to vote, and hopefully they'll vote correctly. But anyway, thank you so much for being with us, and God bless everybody, okay? We'll see you next time.